response to parents' requests for early release Wednesday only childcare, Rexon Park is helping us in the afternoon with some programmings, and parents can sign up through Rexon Park's website for the new offering at Mount Daniel for aftercare on early release Wednesdays. And that was sort of a good outcome of some of the conversations that we had here. The elementary Give Day, and this is for TJ, is Monday, January 20th on Martin Luther King Day. We are very proud of our 5th grade Give Day ambassadors who are visiting classrooms at TJ and Mount Daniel to get younger students involved in our annual Give Day. They're collecting household items for home stretch and food donations to make power packs for distribution regionally through Food for Others. And the Bloodmobile will also be on site that day, so if you're interested in giving blood. At Henderson, and hashtag singing together and hashtag playing together, the chorus held its winter concert last week, and it was really great to see so many students excited about singing together. Last night, the band concert was held in 3 parts. Both the chorus and the band concerts were in the auditorium at George Mason for the first time. And I just want to commend the high school and the middle school for working so well together around that space. We did have the musical there last year for Henderson as well, and will again this year. And they really, it was important because they helped accommodate such large audiences. Through the grant of the Falls Church Education Foundation, phase 1 of 3 of Henderson's new Ninja Room is open and underway. There's transformations happening in the auxiliary gym, and that rock wall that was built in 2005, really turning it into a state-of-the-art Ninja Warrior training facility for 665 middle school special needs students at MEH George Mason staff, students, and students enrolled in our ASAP program and the like. If you haven't seen the pictures that have been up on Twitter and a couple other places, they're really great. Kids are swinging and hanging from all kinds of different things in a really safe environment too, which is important. At George Mason, the first career shadowing day for seniors will take place on January 27th. We're still in need of some job sites for students who would visit for 3 or 4 hours. So if people are interested in signing up, there is a link on our website. So if you wouldn't mind going to our website or calling Mary Beth Connolly, that would be great. And then tomorrow is course selection at George Mason High School for next year. So we're already in the planning phases for what courses students will take next year and learning about some of those opportunities. Falls Church Ed Foundation, just a year-end push for donations to the Family Assistance Fund exceeded $20,000. The foundation just continues to do extraordinary work, which funds many of our social workers' efforts to help families with food, clothing, school supplies, and more. I'm particularly grateful that the Ed Foundation has taken this on. When we think about closing gaps and creating a caring community and climate, it certainly has supported that in an amazing way. And it's allowed our school staff to focus on direct services to students while our professional fundraisers take care of some of the other stuff. And then in community, on Monday the 4th, Martin Luther King Day, there will be a march and commemoration program taking place in Falls Church. The program is a great opportunity for education and participation, and I hope all of you will attend. It begins at 9 o'clock at the Tinner Hill Arch, and the route will take marchers down Route 29 to the Falls Church for a program there. So with that, Chair Anderson, I will wrap up my superintendent remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Noonan. Are there any questions for Dr. Noonan? All right, thanks very much. Moving on then to 12.01 board and student liaison comments, and I will look over at our student member to see, Ms. Singvi, do you have anything you want to tell us about? Okay. Ms. Dimmick.
So I've not extricated myself from the Health and Wellness Committee yet, but will in another 10 days or so. But wanted to let you know that we have raised funds to do a film series. So our plan is to show the first film on the 26th of this month. It's Finding Kind. It's about girl-on-girl bullying. We also plan to show Like, about social media, and Principal Hardy is interested in showing that at Henderson on an early release, not after school before the late bus, so students could go and then still catch the late bus. And the other movies are The Upstanders, which is about bullying, and Angst, which is about anxiety. So, and we have funds to do one community showing and one in-school showing if a school wants, or I think we can do 2 community showings within 48 hours. So, thanks.
Thanks. Mr. Webb?
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I'll give a little report from the athletic boosters. I was unable to go to that meeting on Monday night because I was down in Richmond for the legislative conference, but got some information they wanted to share. They are hosting 2 youth basketball nights for the girls and boys team on Friday, January 24th. It will be for the guys game, and on Friday, January 31st for the girls game. They plan to have a lot of giveaways for some of the youngest fans, and they're hoping for big crowds. And it's just a way that they're looking at to connect with some of the younger students in CCPS. They are also focusing on the annual March Madness fundraiser on Saturday, March 28th. It is their biggest fundraiser of the year, which they raise approximately between $8,000 to $10,000 for their use during the year, which we as a board and our athletics departments do benefit from those funds that are raised. So we definitely, folks who need some mulch, make sure you reach out to them and get a couple bags shipped over to your house. And that is it for my comments. Went down with Ms. Litton and I took part in the annual legislative day. We talked with today. I was over today and met with our legislative delegation, talking about our package, and also it was good to see. It's a opportunity that we've not had in years. That hopefully, fingers crossed, that we already got a little bit of extra money from the state, where it's a rarity that we get anything from Richmond. So it's already gotten off to a much better start than what we normally expect. Only hopefully it'll get a little bit better as time goes on. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Ms. Litton?
I don't have much to add. None of my committees have met, but yeah, joined Mr. Webb yesterday down at the legislative conference. And I think generally people are feeling very positive because it looks like significantly more money. But they did raise a few issues that they think will pop up due to the change in leadership that could actually be negatives for school boards. So, I think there may be some different issues this year that we'll be alerted to. So we'll keep everybody up to date on what's happening and whether we need involvement from the board.
Thank you, Ms. Litton. Ms. Russell?
So the only, addition I have from Dr. Noonan's comments, because he covered the career shadowing for BIE, was with regard to the foundation. They have their gala coming up in May, and I believe the theme is Roaring 20s. And then the other thing is the foundation is actually kind of going through, some reorganization. They're just looking at reorganization and government restructuring. So that's what they're looking at right now, and that's kind of where their focus is. And then the other thing is just to make everyone aware that it's that time of year where we start reshuffling the liaison assignments. And so you'll be receiving an email from, Ms. Goodell, regarding the lovely array of liaison assignment options. And hopefully we will also be able to provide the dates or days, the schedule of meetings, so you don't end up like Shauna Russell and have all your meetings stacked in the same week. So that would be a piece of advice for you, is to actually look at the schedule. And then also, of course, feel free to reach out to the current liaisons or people who've performed the roles in the past, if you're interested in more information about the different committees and what they do and what the expectations are. So,
Ms. Russell. Mr. Reitinger?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Only one of my liaison groups has met this year, and that was the ESOL LEAP Committee. I unfortunately got the word that the meeting had been canceled after I was at the central office, so that did not take place, but I'll be attending future meetings. I did want to raise the performance that took place last night that Dr. Noonan referred to at Creative Cauldron. So for those of you who were not able to attend, it was a play written by Mr. Northrup and performed by four George Mason students with technical assistance from another. It's amazing to see the level of talent our students have and the work that's done by our faculty as well. So if you have opportunities to do that sort of thing in the future, it's always worth going to, the George Mason Fall and Spring productions and the MEH productions as well. The last thing I just wanted to briefly mention, it goes back to the budget discussion, and this is for the chair and vice chair to consider, whether we are going to do school board visits to schools as a part of the process, because if we want to do that, the time will be on us very rapidly, and those can be somewhat difficult to schedule. So I just would work to not let too much time pass before we take a look at that. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reidinger. Ms. Downs? Okay. I'll say none of my committees have met since we last met, but I want to just highlight three things for everyone. Dr. Noonan already alluded to the day of service on January 20th, and I'd encourage everyone who can to go to the event and participate in the march and listen in and learn. The City Council is having a retreat on Saturday, 25th of January. I'm not sure of the location yet, but timing starts at 9 a.m. and it goes through part of the day. It's a little bit weird with the other event that's scheduled that day, but I'm not sure what they're going to do. I don't know if Dr. Noonan.
I have a little bit of information, Mr. Chair, and that is only to say that we are trying to schedule. We aren't trying to schedule. They are trying to schedule their retreat at Mary Ellen Henderson.
Okay.
In the media center, and that way at 10 o'clock they could take a break and join us for our hard hat tour.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And then a reminder that we will be having our retreat on February 6th, which is Thursday, over at the, what's it going to be, the Hilton Garden Inn, right? And we'll be, the whole point of this is an opportunity for us as the new board to come together and discuss how we're going to work together. What are the strategic goals that we have for the coming year? This would be a really good opportunity. I was going to bring up this communication with the community at that point, but agenda to follow. I did have a chance to talk with everyone over the last few weeks about kind of topics that folks would like to do. I'll be using that as a starting point with an agenda, and Dr. Noonan and I will be reaching out with more details in the coming days. So looking forward to having everybody there to the extent that that's possible, and we'll go forward into our year together. And that's all I have to say. So unless there are any other comments from the board, we'll keep going. All right. We don't have any minutes to approve this time, and there are some materials for board review. Enrollment information is also in the budget book, but the student ratios per dwelling unit, which I looked at myself over the weekend, I also see some really interesting things in there as well as the ones Phil mentioned. And then there is a list of events for school board representation coming up. Encourage us to make sure we can be there when possible. Mr. Wright?
I just wanted to, especially for the two new board members, to highly recommend the detailed review of the student ratios by dwelling unit, which goes back many years and shows the changes in demographics and where kids come from. If you haven't looked at that before, it's very instructive and very useful.
And it actually addresses several common questions we'll hear, no doubt, over the coming weeks. So thank you. And if there is nothing else from anyone, then we will be adjourned.